Day, the Australian public was gripped by a baffling mystery. A passenger aircraft carrying 7 people went missing on a flight from Brisbane without trace. Using historical news footage, Eyewitness News tonight tells the story of a modest bushman who was to solve the mystery and become a household name.
In 1937, a quiet bushman named Bernard O'Reilly became a hero in an incredible story of courage, endurance and mateship. It started 50 years ago this week when the Brisbane to Sydney mail plane failed to clear the rugged McPherson Range near the New South Wales border. Eyewitness News climbed through the dense rainforest to what remains of the wreck, just as O'Reilly had done half a century ago.
After 50 years, the elements and souvenir hunters have left their mark. There's not much left of the wreck to see. Still, every year, thousands spend hours trekking through the jungle to come to the scene of one of Australia's greatest rescue dramas.
When 7 passengers climbed aboard the Stinson aircraft at Archerfield, the weather was turning sour along the route. There were hundreds of reported sightings of the aircraft, but it was widely believed it had gone down in the ocean near Sydney. Bernard O'Reilly thought otherwise. Based on local sightings, he was convinced the plane had flown directly across the Lamington National Park and may have crashed there. So he began his lone rescue mission into thick, trackless jungle. Armed with only 2 loaves of bread and his own estimate of the plane's flight path, he started to search. On day 2, he saw in the distance a blackened tree among the sea of green. He headed for it, pulse quickening with anticipation. Beneath that tree, beside the burnt-out plane wreck, lay John Proud with a broken, gangrenous leg, and nearby a weak and emaciated Joe Binstead. It was 10 days after the crash. Their first words to O'Reilly showed their appreciation in what is now a famous encounter. O'Reilly described it in this recording.
I went down to where the men were. Mr. Binstead was the first to speak. He said, "Come down, boy, I want to shake your hand." And Mr. Proud said something like, "That goes for me too."
O'Reilly left them what food he had and set off. Binstead and Proud had told him of another injured survivor, John Westray, who'd bravely gone for help. But Westray had fallen down a waterfall and died. O'Reilly found him near where his grave lies today. O'Reilly pushed on and came across 2 locals, Roy and Eric Buchanan, who were shooting flying foxes.
He was staggering over towards us. I went over to meet him, and he said, "I'm Bernard O'Reilly. I found the Stinson."
Immediately, a rescue was organised. Although exhausted, O'Reilly led a medical party back to the site while scores of volunteers began the tough work of hacking a path through the undergrowth. The survivors were carried down the mountain to waiting ambulances and a big crowd. Some who saw Proud's broken leg ridden with maggots thought he would die, but the maggots had saved his life by eating the gangrenous poison flesh. O'Reilly, who through his own determination had found the wreck, became a national hero. In 1968, O'Reilly, Binstead and Proud were together again when they opened a memorial to the events that changed their lives forever. Today, Sir John Proud is the only one of the 3 still alive. He will return this weekend for memorial activities on the 50th anniversary of the Stinson crash. Mark Simmons, Eyewitness News.